Good evening, everybody. It's Mr. Rolldaddy here, and this week it's a very big game for my Iowa Hawkeyes. So I've got to do, you know what? That is right. It is none other than another episode of Mr. Rolldaddy's Hawkeye Football Analysts. Wow, the season's more than halfway done. We're already up to week 7. As the Hawkeyes take on the arch rival Wisconsin Badgers up in Madison in the battle for the Heartland Trophy. Now, I'm going to do a new feature starting this week in my videos. So, yes, it's pregame offense, defense, but before I get to the big roll of the week, I'm going to do one for special teams as well, though that one will only have one roll key as opposed to the 3 I have for offense and defense. I got to get all 3 phases involved. That's what I thought because special teams plays a big part in football games, so there's going to be one roll key for special teams each week from here on out. Now, before we get started, again, all views are completely my own. They're not representative of anyone else, including the University of Iowa, the visiting school, media outlets, athletic departments, coaches, players, staff, and you name it. It's all just for fun for me. All right, pregame. I was right about something for the second straight week. Using the fullbacks. Now, yes, technically that was a tight end touchdown, but Eric Gall, they lined him up at fullback there. So I had a point when I said use the fullbacks against Purdue last week. Now, this is a really tough environment, and it's a really difficult place to play, but let's go win. How do I think Iowa can win? Let's get started. With offense, of course. So, my first offensive role key this week. Be efficient out there in the passing game because here's the thing. Iowa won, but the passing game was not looking too good. I mean, Iowa only completed 6 of 20-something passes. Eric Gall caught 5 of those 6 passes and had 88% of Iowa's receiving yards last week. It's not going to cut it this week. I'm going to tell you that. Iowa's got to make sure they spread that football around, throw that ball to where more wide receivers can catch it, because if one player is pretty much the only player involved on the receiving end in our passing game this weekend, it is not going to work. It just is not. Now, second offensive role key I've got, find the holes on their defense. So, in Wisconsin's defensive scheme, they emphasize speed on that defense. And they'll play the defense based off of the speed of their defenders. That is how they consistently run their defense. But it can create some holes on the field because those guys are going so fast to a particular area of the field. So find where those holes are and get the ball attacked through those holes. Because if there's some holes, that's where their speed can hurt them the most because they got too fast to another side of the ball or the field. So attack them quickly. My third offensive role key. The offensive line is going to win or lose this game. Because here's the thing. If the offensive line, if they're taking sacks on third down, if they're losing yardage, if they're missing down blocks, well, or if they even do anything consistently that just causes an inability to convert new first downs, well, Iowa is going to lose this game. And there's 4 guys on Wisconsin's defensive front. Thompson, Varner, Mullins, Pays. So those 4 guys, the offensive line, they got to watch where they are aligned, what they do, how they stand. Do they have 2 points, 3 or 4 on the ground? And then read them, see what you think their movement's going to be. Now, on to defense. So here's my first defensive role key. Gap control. Play the running game this weekend because what tight ends are to Iowa are what running backs are to Wisconsin, because over the years, they have been a very consistent school with fielding a strong zone running game. And it's not just their scheme, but they find really great running backs all over every year that can run the show, and they also find the offensive linemen to do it as well. Braylon Allen, he's their top running back, so Iowa, just get everyone in the front seven to take a gap. Have them ready in their assigned gap to make a tackle, and the thing is, with Braylon Allen, you've got to wrap him up right away. Don't let him get the yards after contact this week, because he is a dynamic runner, and he's really continuing that strong running back tradition Wisconsin has had for so many years. So stop him. All right, here's my second roll key. Jay Higgins, yes, our middle linebacker. Because against this type of offense that prides itself on running the ball, get our middle linebacker out there to blitz, play center field, and just have him be ready to do anything, because he's got to provide the additional pressure towards Wisconsin, especially in the center of that field where anything can happen. They may make any sort of plays. Just have him ready to do anything to pursue that ball in the center of the field as a middle linebacker. Third defensive role key. So Luke Fickell thinks he hasn't seen, so yes, Fickell's had collegiate head coaching experience. He had a super great run at Cincinnati recently, but the thing is, he's a first-year head coach for Wisconsin, and he just doesn't have the history of playing against Iowa that the other Wisconsin coaches that we've played over the years have had. So what I am thinking Iowa's got to do is just have extra blitz packages, coverage, movements, and alignments ready, because Luke Fickell, he hasn't played Iowa before as Wisconsin, at least not as Wisconsin's head coach. So he's not completely in line with how difficult the Iowa defense may be sometimes. So just throw in some things he hasn't seen on tape and try to make him feel, he's rather unprepared to play against this defense. Throw the first-year head coach off of his game by playing the strength of what Iowa is, defense. All right, special teams. We're finally getting into the new area. So, again, it's only one roll key for special teams, punt returns, because, look, Iowa's going into a hostile environment. If they can get that punt return game, if they do that well, that can really be a great advantage for the Hawkeyes. They can grab those yards. Defense can hold them back. And look, and especially the defense is holding Wisconsin back in their negative red zone, which is 20 yards. Pretty much it's the opposite of the standard red zone. It's just from their own 20 yards and less. And if they're in that negative red zone, that punt returns provide a great way for Iowa to get some good field position in. But they got to watch out for the fakes. Use punt return safe man this week. And pretty much that's when one guy on the punt return team is on the line of scrimmage watching the fakes, making sure no one's throwing, no one's running. Because punt returns can set up our offense to succeed this week. It can be that one thing Iowa needs. Now, here we are. Rolldaddy's Big Roll of the Week again. So, if you're new to this channel, what Rolldaddy's Big Roll of the Week is an interesting strategy, formation, trick play, or otherwise surprise tactic, which I would use if I was an Iowa coach to try to get us an advantage or catch the opponent off guard. Now, each big roll can only be used once in a season, and I cannot use the same one as I had used for this school or a similar replacement school last year. So here we go. Bum bum. Make it the Deacon Hill Revenge Tour. Because here's the thing. Deacon Hill, our certain quarterback the rest of the way, he originally began at Wisconsin before he transferred out to Iowa. Now he's thrust into the starting lineup with Cade McNamara out for the year. So Make it the Deacon Hill revenge game, the ultimate one, because he started at Wisconsin, so how about we run over 75% of our offensive plays in the shotgun, but we're also going to pass at a ratio of about 70% passing to 30% running. And again, like I said earlier, all of our pass catchers need to be utilized, and the passing and receiving mechanics, they've got to be there. If that happens, the Deacon Hill Revenge Tour can happen there. So, thank you for watching. Let's win this game and go Hawks.